Top 10 strongest characters in Primal Season 1 TV series. Number 10, Megasnake. The Megasnake was a dinosaur-sized snake who served as the leader of a group of giant snakes. This creature was an enormous snake easily twice as long as Fang, making it one of the largest enemies Spear and Fang have ever fought. Size. Because of its massive bulk and sheer muscle mass, the snake was easily able to keep up with Spear in a fight and was able to withstand a bite to the torso from Fang's jaws. The snake had an unhinged jaw characteristic to all snakes that it could bite down with incredible strength. It was able to effortlessly snap apart a log used by Spear. Despite its size and prehensile body, the snake had incredible swimming speed and was able to chase down Spear with little effort. Number 9, Spear. Spear is the protagonist of Primal. He was a caveman from an alternate prehistoric Earth who struggled to survive the violent and brutal conditions of the primordial world, and in the process, forged an unlikely bond with a dinosaur. As a Neanderthal caveman, Spear's body was much better equipped for survival than those of most modern humans. He could physically exert himself for extended periods, had heightened senses that enable him to detect more than what his eyes can tell him, and he was far more durable and tolerant of pain. Spear's most notable physical ability was his great strength. He picked up and swung a large rock hard enough to break the leg of one of the tyrannosaurs that killed his family, also tossing his spear through the killer Tyrannosaurus. Besides, Spear is extremely cunning and wise in combat. Number 8, Fang. Fang is the deuteragonist of Primal. A female Tyrannosaurus Rex, she tragically lost her young around the same time she crosses paths with a prehistoric human. Together, they strike an unlikely friendship and struggle to adapt to the harsh and unbearable world. Fang has demonstrated her ability to handle her opponents far greater than her. She has enough strength to fight off different creatures, such as managing to tear off the snout of a horned Tyrannosaurus with her jaws and powerful enough to tear away the heads of gigantic bats or puncturing the thick hide of a mammoth. Fang has a particularly strong and powerful bite, either because of her sharp teeth, jaw muscles, unusual jaw structure, or some other reason. Fang is astute, for she had realized Spear was supporting her. Number 7, Mammoth Matriarch. The matriarch resembled the other mammoths of her herd, but was slightly larger, had darker fur, blue eyes, and a tattoo-like mark on the base of her trunk. Since she is one of the healthier members of her herd, the matriarch had ginormous physical strength. She could effortlessly pin down Fang, and with enough ramming power to charge her into another mammoth that would have killed the Tyrannosaurus. The matriarch has high physical endurance due to her larger size, as she was the one leading her herd in front of a blizzard. She also tolerated damage to her vulnerable eyes during her fight with Fang. The matriarch is shown to be a great leader and has great authority of her herd. Number 6, Megaspider. The Megaspider was a sauropod-sized prehistoric spider. This enormous arachnid was the leader of the man-bats, despite not being the same species. As a spider, the Megaspider is capable of spitting webs out of a gland on its mouth. If used against an opponent, the webs of the Megaspider can either wrap enemies in a cocoon or stick them into a certain surface. Its webs could also act as bungee cords, with enough strength to hold Fang. The Megaspider can prove a formidable enemy. Aside from its intimidating size, the Megaspider was capable of brutally thrashing Fang towards the walls of the cave by just holding her with one of its claws. While the Megaspider didn't take any hits for a majority of the battle with Spear and Fang, it is notable that the Megaspider's legs were enough to withstand a brutal hit from a rock held by Spear, showing great resilience. It was only killed after Spear impaled a Triceratops horn into the side of its head. Number 5, Alpha Tyrannosaurus. The Alpha Tyrannosaurus was a giant horned Tyrannosaurus that was the leader of the Tyrannosaurus pack. It was one of the first antagonists in the series, as well as the one responsible for killing Spear and Fang's families. The Alpha Tyrannosaur was strong enough to hold Fang down with one foot, send her flying with a swipe of its tail, and even punch her off of its throat with its proportionately tiny forelimbs. The alpha tyrannosaur had very thick scales. Fang bit it in the throat to no effect, even when it punched her away while her jaws were still clamped around it. Spear's namesake weapon was able to pierce its skin and make it bleed, but only seemed to do superficial damage, even when he stabbed the roof of its mouth. Ultimately, it was only overcome when Spear vaulted off of Fang and delivered a plunging spear strike through its brain, using the velocity of his fall to increase the force of his stab. Number 4. Infected Argentinosaurus. The infected Argentinosaurus, also known as the mad sauropod or the plague monster, was an individual Argentinosaurus that was infected by a disease that turned it rabid and murderous. Despite its large size, the sauropod moved quickly, able to catch up with Spear and Fang, and even managed to jump high towards the duo, although it is what it led to its downfall. The Argentinosaurus had tremendous strength that came naturally to its species. It was strong enough to overpower its former herd members, able to crush the entire abdomen of one member with the force of its forelimbs, and able to crash through thick trees as though they were twigs. Even with a decayed body, the Argentinosaurus survived multiple blows that would have been fatal if it was still normal. The only thing that halted its rampage was molten lava, which proved so destructive to the sauropod that it burned into ashes. Due to the nature of the disease, the Argentinosaurus displayed an unnatural, tenacious need to kill. Even if it was hampered by a narrow ravine, it ripped itself free to continue its chase. Number 3. Mutated Krog. After drinking the black liquid, Krog became strong enough to make craters in solid stone with his punches. In his battle with Fang, he sent her flying with his blows and even picked her up with ease. His mutated form barely reacted to Fang ripping a chunk of flesh from his arm and only briefly reeled in pain when Spear punched him in the eye. He even endured a punch from Spear's ooze-enhanced form that sent him flying across the arena. It also took Spear noticeable effort to rip Krog's arms off and numerous blows with them to bludgeon him to death. In addition to his physicality, Krog was skilled enough to exploit his opponent's weaknesses in combat, such as tanking a blow to the face in order to grab and break the attacker's arm. Number 2. Mutated Spear. This is the mutated form of Spear. Drinking the black liquid enhanced Spear's strength even further, making him powerful enough to brush off the ape men after his transformation, knock away Krog and the Triceratops skull he is wearing with a punch, violently rip off Krog's arms to use as clubs to savagely beat him to death, and then slaughter the entire ape men tribe. After his transformation, Spear was able to endure a few punches from Krog, showing little pain. Number 1. Night Feeder. The Night Feeder was a monstrous, enigmatic dinosaur that brutally killed its victims at night and was able to attack with unnatural stealth and speed. The Night Feeder was a theropod that was similar in size to Fang. The Night Feeder appeared to be covered in some sort of black, tar-like substance. From what little was seen of the Night Feeder, it had an extremely brutal nature. It killed well in excess of its dietary needs. The Night Feeder was one of the fastest creatures in the Primal series, being able to sprint at unnatural speeds. The Night Feeder's long claws were capable of cleanly cutting through the toughest masses of skin, flesh, and bone, reducing its victims to maimed or even exploded corpses with one well-aimed strike. The Night Feeder's most impressive feat was its ability to become virtually invisible in poor light conditions, such as nighttime or a dense forest. This enabled it to confuse its prey and perform quick ambush attacks. That's all for today. Thanks for watching my clip. See you